Week 3 in the books, baby.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome, everybody. SPNHL Talk here. Week 3 review. I'm Cuban with his partner in crime, Reaper.
What's going on?
So we got a very exciting week. Live Friday again because of the holiday, New Year's Eve. I hope everyone had a good Christmas. What else can I say? It was a tough night for Calgary. I wasn't too happy, but hey, man, it's what happens in SP. Any night, any team could win, and tonight, we had that happen. How about you, Reap? How you finish up, buddy?
Not bad, man. We got 2 out of 3 tonight, so it's not too bad. Can't complain. It's better than 0-3.
Yeah, true that, buddy. 0-3 would suck. Along with us tonight, none other than the main man himself. Let me give his little intro music here. The founder. I like to call him the Godfather. S.A. Pliskin. What's up, Plisk? Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, what's going on?
Plisk on board tonight, taking questions. I know he posted up on the website and said to message any questions that you may have tonight. We're going to have a full-blown Ask Plisk segment here after we review a few things about the week. And I mean, really the biggest thing I see is just Nashville on fire. On fire, buddy. I didn't see that out of anywhere. They're just playing out of this world. $11-game win streak for them boys over there in Nashville, and they're setting a tone that they're a tough team to beat right now. Sports is playing really good in net. He's found a great lineup that with Pistol Pete and Red. It's just really good for them right now over there.
Yeah.
Nice change for him, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. The other big talk from the last few days is Vancouver changing ownership. JDK, life happens. All of us play this for fun. We know it's a competitive league and there's heated moments, but at the end of the day, life happens, and JDK had to step away, and Raj stepped up there, and now he's the new GM over at Vancouver. And congratulations on becoming a GM, Raj. Welcome to the mess, and good luck there in Vancouver, buddy. You got your work cut out for you. Let's see some of these.
He's been working at that for a while, trying to get that. Well, not that team, but a team.
Yeah, no, he's put his name in the hat quite a few times to become a GM. I know that, and he's come up short a few times, but now he's stepped up. He had the opportunity, and he's already made moves.
Cleaning house.
And hopefully, everyone's got a different play style and a different way they want to play, and you got to surround yourself with those type of players. So he's in that transition mode. The only bad thing is he's only got 2 weeks left to make a staple. You know what I mean? He had tonight, and then he's got literally 6 more days of SP to get it situated, and then decide if he wants to come back again next season.
I'm
so
sure he will.
We'll see what. Yeah, I would assume he will, but you never know. I thought Mose would come back, and after 2 seasons ago, and he said 2 weeks of that was enough for him. He stepped down.
Yeah, it can be tough.
Absolutely, man. We pretty much saving the power rankings and the standing stuff for a little bit later. I really want to move into our special guest tonight, Mr. Pliskin. Just one of the first questions I have here for Ask Plisk was from my partner in crime over in Calgary, Ayachoku. He's wondering, why don't you make streaming and archiving games mandatory in SP?
Well, not everybody has a connection. I suppose you could force somebody on your team to stream, but then they'd have to be in every single game. I know I streamed every season up until this season. I'm not sure if it's my own internet or the network for this the new game, but I just cannot play a single game without it lagging severely with it streaming. So I stopped streaming myself. So right now, I probably wouldn't do that. If they fixed it, I would try to make it more popular idea. Most people like the stream just because people can watch them play, but right now I couldn't force it on anybody.
Right. I know we kind of have like I had thought it was mandatory a few seasons ago that during the playoffs you had to stream, and it wasn't. But most of the GMs I know have talked in the chat and said that they would stream their games during the playoffs because everybody wants to watch playoff games. I mean, it gets exciting.
Everyone's sitting there watching; they want to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you can stream, I say do it because it's a joy for people to watch. Even your own teammates who aren't playing, they want to watch, see what's going on. So if you can do it, do it.
Right.
But if you're having issues, if it's going to cost you connection issues, like you're going to get booted, resetting games over and over again, don't bother. It's not worth the time loss.
Okay. One Shot has a question for you. He's asking if you will ever change it from draft and move into a 24-hour bidding system for teams.
No. Short answer. The bidding, we didn't do bidding for a long time. We started off with bidding, and we hated the feel of it. We didn't like how teams were being built, and it's just too much to monitor, and teams were getting stacked. Anytime you can put a bid on a player, you're either going to be paying way too much or way too little, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of this league is to stay balanced. That's why the values are there. It's still got holes where GMs make mistakes or they don't make the right choices. But if every person made the right choice and picked who they should be picking, the teams would be pretty close. I mean, every season speaks for itself, but we always have, the top 80-90% of the league just asses to elbows tight.
Right. I actually like the system that you have in place, and I love the salary system. I just don't. I'm playing VG and they do the bidding thing, and it takes too long to just pick up a guy. Where here it's automatic.
Yeah, our drafts are what, 2 hours, 3 if we're really bad.
Right.
But yeah, the bidding process could take almost a week, and that's just tedious.
Reap, do you have anything for Plisk? I don't want to feel dominated asking questions left and right here. Hello. Hello.
Oh.
You're muted yourself there, buddy. I know I didn't mute you. Hello. All right. Well, I will continue to dominate the chat then. The other question I had was right now the issue with goalie glitching. And I know it's been, you've seen the chats, you've seen the chat boxes, you've seen everybody throwing opinions and stuff, and we had a little heated debate about everything. Yeah, last show, and it got a little crazy, but moving forward, is there, I don't think EA is going to patch this thing, and even if they do, I think they're going to mess something else up, and then we're going to have another issue. So I mean, in my personal experience, I had one with Reaper. I ended up like not counting the goal. We restarted the game and whatever. This week playing Nashville, tight game, we're winning, and Jaddy came out to play, but was still in the crease, and he did like the Statue of Liberty pose. Their guy scored. Immediately, Sports, classy man, messages me right away and says, "Yo, was your goalie glitching?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Do you want me to give you one back?" And I said, "No," because we never discussed the rule. Like, I'm not going to sit there and some guys are going to be yes, and some guys are going to be no. Right now, guys are going to score on it, and there's going to be those heated debates. But to me, you scored it. My guy was glitching. We didn't get the puck. You scored it. It is what it is. So I told him, and it was early in the game. I wasn't, it really didn't determine it. We still ended up losing the game anyway. But I mean, but just that common courtesy. Is there something like, are you thinking down the road or even currently to talk about with us with this issue arising as much as it's been coming up?
For sure, I'm open to dialogue with the GMs, figure something out. It is a major issue. I play enough goalie to know that you do get screwed on many occasions. My fear is, any rule I make is exploitation. We can say, I mean, sometimes you can see it, the goalie gets crushed and then he's sitting there looking like a fool and you can't move. Those ones are obvious. There's some that, they're just out of the crease. They're not even moving. Those might be. You never know. Like, I don't want to start setting up a situation where if I got to take a piss and I don't want you to score, I just go sit outside my crease and claim I was frozen or stuck. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Or if you're winning, or if we're winning and I'm trying to keep that lead, I can pull all sorts of shit. But at the same sense, I don't want to see legitimate goalies getting stuck, getting slammed against the boards. I've seen hungry hippos across the ice. That stuff those ones are obvious. So you could probably make an argument for those and maybe have a stipulation, but I think it'd have to be, discussed. But I think it would end up being one of those, how obvious of a freeze is it?
Right.
I mean, even there's some glitches too where goalies.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear
there
you. Back, buddy.
Go. Jesus Christ.
You muted yourself there, buddy.
No, man, my whole fucking thing fucked up.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this PG-13, bro. Come on.
Not bad. Shit.
But there's times when a guy's coming in from the side and you drop to the butterfly on the post and he does a wrap and there's no way in hell you're moving, no matter how much you hold that button to get across. Is that a freeze? Like, how do we rule it? It's very.
That happened to us tonight against Philly. Bruins came flying out, and we just launched out of the boards. That way, it's a very
touchy situation to draw a line somewhere. So it's definitely up for debate, discussion for sure. But right now, there's no rule in plan yet.
Right. Definitely something to discuss. I know I want to discuss it, just to get everyone on the same page. That's pretty much where I look at it. Especially right now, the way we kind of always vote on stuff and second that and get it voted on, and that's the right way to do it. But just like a gentleman's agreement type thing, get everyone on the same page. So if something does happen, everyone can do it. It's just getting 13 guys all on the same page or 14 guys all on the same page.
Yeah, the easiest and the hardest solution would be for GMs just to give things the benefit of the doubt, but. Again, not every GM is going to play ball, and we've seen this in the past. Some people are overly kind in lax in certain areas, and some are pretty cutthroat. So it's going to cause fights unless we have a definite rule set.
Right. I have a question from Moles. Wants to know, what does NW mean?
Oh, you're an ass.
Just fired him. Hey, man, I told you be ready. I told him
not to ask that question because it's not worth the answer. Even if you get the answer, you won't understand it because I don't understand it.
So that answer is sufficient enough for me.
Yeah, NW is just Smurf's alter ego, and you could ask him what it means. He'll explain it for about 20 minutes, and you'll still be just as confused when he's done. So that's all I can give you.
That sounds good.
I know another question that a lot of guys were wanting to know or suggesting that it would be a pretty cool idea, and even Cuban thought it was a pretty cool idea. But every season, maybe instead of allowing just half of our cap, that you're only allowed to sign one player per team.
One player.
That way, it makes the draft. That way, it makes the draft really interesting. It puts a lot more talent in the draft.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It does. I like that concept. Yeah, I could get behind something like that. That'd be something that I'd have to see the popular opinion, because there are some people who work really hard to build, and the idea of losing everything but one guy may not be on everyone's favorite list, but I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah.
How about the idea of 8-man rosters? I know I've been spamming the chat with that, and I haven't seen you reply at all. So now that you're on the show, I figure I'd take my pot shot at you here, buddy. This is my one and only.
8-man rosters. I would honestly
Minimum.
let you guys do 6-man rosters if you could rely on 6 guys to show up every night. And that is the only issue with 8.
Like, I'm talking expansion too. Like,
yeah, well, that's the problem. Like, you can expand, but that just means you're going to have more teams forfeiting because they have less players to occupy the roster.
Right. I mean, I seen Steelers mention in there that, you know, he has a tough enough time just getting his 6 with just a 10-man minimum roster. And I said, I said it, like, there's guys now, we have a 10-man minimum that have 12 guys on their roster. I have 11. Like,
yeah, and they still forfeit.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? Me, Serge, and Lomax, we talk a lot about things league-wise to change and concepts. We throw things at each other all the time. That's been something we've wanted and talked about for a while. We just haven't been able to figure out a way to make it work.
Right.
Because, like I said, the obvious issue is, you know, you got 8-man roster. You're fine. You and your 7 buddies, you're there every night, but majority of the league is struggling and games aren't getting played. My biggest issue is making sure games get played.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nothing's worse than showing up. Whether you win or lose, a forfeit is crap time.
Yeah, totally agree. And I don't think there's been any forfeits so far this season. I don't want to jinx myself.
I don't think so.
I think everyone's been pretty good. I know there's been scramble for more than 2 or 3 ECU players to make sure they don't forfeit, and that's come to fruition. That GM was lucky enough, Reaper, to get 3 ECUs to help him not forfeit a game.
We've had we've even talked about ideas where you would post for when you register, you post your set availability. There'll be no more +2, -2 junk. It's if you say you're good for 6, you play 6 and only 6. That way, and then we would have changed the value. So say you played 10 games the season before, you got a value. We would divide that by 10 games. And then whatever you signed up for the next season. So if you signed up for 20 games, or whatever it would be, 20 games, we'll just say to keep it math simple, you would take your per game value and multiply it by 20. And that would be your value for that season. Then you would take your teams, they'd be able to draft. So if you have, 9 games a week and you got 6 positions per game, what is that, 54? So 54 game slots. You'd have to have a minimum roster of 54 available game slots. That's what we contemplated, but we couldn't figure out a
so
good
using
math.
availability as the determining factor of your roster.
Yeah. So if you ever forfeited, you'd be forced to increase your maximum or your minimum availability roster by 3. And every forfeit. So every time you forfeit, you'd have to increase your roster even bigger and bigger and bigger. So you would always have to have a kind of a penalty.
Right.
The trouble we found with that is, of course, the mathematics.
The cap. That's immediately what I thought of, is having enough cap room to get those guys on the roster.
Yeah, cap was a big thing. But also the accuracy of the values. It would have been right, because right now the values are set you versus everybody in your position for the entire season. If you're only getting paid, if you only played like 10 games, you're getting a value of that. Instead of it being 10 games worth of value, you'd be getting 45 games of value. And you didn't.
Right.
So if you had like
just get an average.
Yeah, if you had one good game and you had an
All
average
of a
of 4
sudden,
points per game, all of a sudden you have an entire season of 4 points per game.
yeah, now you're 8.5 million when you should be 2.5 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the other area we had trouble with, but it's been thought of. Just right now, there's not enough reliability
Right.
to sustain that.
Well, I just like the fact that it's been talked about prior, the 8 and 6-man roster idea, and that it, been tossed around. So it's a possibility. I mean, I know Burst and I had conversated on just the pure basis that there's a lot of talented players on rosters that are only getting 3 to 5 games a week because of the chemistry of the team. You know what I mean? That can easily be on another roster getting 9 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, question here from One Shot wants to know about the lag out rule. Currently, player lags out, and it's up to the other team to give the okay after the first period 10-minute marker. He wants to know if there's ever going to be a possibility of getting it changed to where you automatically just pick up that lagged out player, so that way it's always 6 versus 6. I know in the playoffs that's a rule.
Yes, in the playoffs, that's a rule. The reason it's in the playoffs and not the season is because nobody's waiting on you. You're
Right.
in your own time slot, you and the other team, so there's nobody. Right now, we play 3 games a night. Just picking up goalies is enough to extend that waiting period a half an hour sometimes, if you have to do it enough times.
Right.
If you're grabbing players, it just increases the odds of delay. And, it's tricky. Not everybody can stay. You got guys who have to be gone before a certain time. Now they're forced away because you're always picking up. I left it open. I gave it the option to do it the first period just to be quick, just to give them some kind of window. But to pick up every player every single time could be problematic, especially if you got to keep replaying the entire period just to go get them.
Right.
If they cut halfway through, are you going to finish the period? It depends on what he means, but there's going to be a lot of downtime, and we got to get 3 games in, plus trying to work with other leagues. Normally, I don't really care about other leagues. I'm more cared about your team's ability to work. If guys are disappearing, then it's just going to cost you forfeits, or it's going to make you forced to play guys who aren't supposed to be there. It's a lot of trouble for nothing.
Yeah, no, that's we play 3, and I know other leagues play 2 and have that window for like an hour before games.
Yeah, they got an hour in between, so they got time to play 2 games full if they have to. We got 15
right, and then
minutes
pick up
at best.
Yeah, if we're lucky, and that's it. But you know what? I'd rather have consecutive games like we have 1, 2, 3, and the rhythm keeps going than to sit there and wait 45 minutes for another game. It's quite painful.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Go ahead.
Well, it's actually from Smash, and it's for Plisk, and he wants to know who Plisk thinks was the greatest SP team that has ever played for this league.
Oh, Jesus. The greatest SP team.
Season 20, Calgary Flame.
Listen to
I'm just
19,
saying.
bro. 19, right here.
That's a tough one. So I would have had to think about that one and look it up, because I can barely remember what happened this season, let alone other seasons. But there was one team that stuck out that was just dominant. I'm trying to find out where they were. I'll look at the
19.
I'm looking at the awards. Yeah, I'm on the website too.
I want to say
there's one that stuck out with me.
Season 2. I think the St. Blues in season 2 was deadly. Possibly even New Jersey in season 3.
I was gonna go season 8, New York Rangers.
Season 8. Jumper Bone. Yeah, that was pretty deadly too.
That's
so many good ones.
I had just gotten in, I think around season 7, and that season 8 team, man, that team, unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's way too many good teams. I think it's just way too hard to call. There's been some really, really stacked teams in the early days before he had a salary or the player values. See if I can find the records.
Trying to see who they beat for that.
The hard check arms. Oh, here it is. President's
Jay
Trophy.
Scott.
Well, we've had a team to go 35-5. That was season 3. Yeah, I would say, I guess I got to stick with my first guess there, season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah.
And they won the cup, I assume.
Yep. They were the cup winners. They consisted of, let's go back up, Superstar JJ, Wilf 28, Dead Ant, Denny Dice, Herc 87, I Got Skills, J 6219, Johnny Funny, back when he was big time goaltender in those days. Captain Clutch, Rampage 105, and Vipe Tucci. Yeah, they were unstoppable that season.
I have a question from Shane. Wants to know why the stats in the team versus team finals are all messed up.
I assume he means the when you examine the game stats after a match.
Yes, because I clicked on them last week, and I would only see the one side, and the other side was all jumbled together.
We're not entirely sure why that is. I mean, I know why it is. I'm not sure why it's affecting this website at the moment. It didn't affect us before, but
Right.
what's happening is if you notice when you click on it, the border on the right comes in too far. It's that shows the articles and stuff and the Twitter feed and all that stuff.
Yes.
That is in the way. It's compressing the right team. Like if you look, they don't have enough room to put everything in. So what it does is it can actually, you know what it is? I think I can see what it is now. That's not what I thought it was. I think that the team on the left, their stats aren't fitting into the box, and there should be a scroll bar. There should be one on the bottom that you can scroll. It's not there for some reason. So it's overlapping the one on the right.
Yes.
So that might be the issue. We never had that issue before, so we're not sure what's causing it or how to fix it yet, but we have noticed that.
Cool. Lavels has another question for you, boss man.
Yep.
He wants to know who you think the number one forward in SPL all time is.
He's trying to get me in trouble now. He's trying to get me in trouble.
Opinion.
The best forward in SPNHL history.
Yeah.
The most dangerous one that I can recall would be what was his name? Juice Slater, I think. Yeah, Juice Slater.
Okay. 5-Star also has a question. He wants to know why the D is not ranked by plus minus, block shots, giveaways, takeaways, instead of points.
Well, anybody who knows me and when it comes to awards and stuff knows that I hate plus minus with a passion when it comes to telling whether or not a defenseman is a good defenseman. My reason for that is, you can let in 100 goals as long as you score 101, you're plus one.
Right.
And what about with the new stats, though, with the block shots, takeaways, and giveaways? Is there a new way to maybe rank them by their takeaways instead of plus minus or their overall goals against, or not goals against, but points?
Say it again, sorry?
The giveaways and takeaways, is there a way to just rank them by that, by just doing the takeaways?
The takeaways, yeah, you could. The trouble is not everybody records those. Coughing in the direction of a lot of my GMs for some reason. They seem to bypass that screen very often.
Yeah, I know I'm not getting coughed on. I take those stats.
But that would be a good way to do it. Takeaways for sure. Block shots, I'm almost considering removing those just because they are broken.
Yeah, they are broken. That is totally broken.
But yeah, right now points is it's just easier to sort it because that just shows majority of the time that shows the best top 10 anyways.
Right.
And don't forget, people who are listening, if you want to ask questions about maybe adding new features to the SP or changing things up to ask, or even ideas of maybe adding something in, let us know.
Iachoku, I was going to save this as a parting one, but I'd rather use it right now while we're talking. Iachoku asked me to ask you to issue a public apology for not awarding him the Norris over at ease in season 17. He said a war to end all wars was started that fateful day.
A war on awards was started?
The war to end all wars was started on that fateful day.
Is that like the war on drugs where you're going to spend a lot of effort in doing it just to make it worse? Or?
Yeah.
He's the one poking the bear here. I'm just the messenger.
Yeah, I don't even remember that season. So yeah, if you felt you deserved it, my apologies. Otherwise, it gets voted on. So tough titty.
Yeah, did he join? If he wanted it bad enough, you should have joined the conversation.
You have an opinion, you have a chance. I ask everybody to sign up.
You do.
Yeah, tough titty sprinkles.
That's another thing. That's another thing I was going to touch on. It's just the awards committee. A lot of people have been opinionated in the past about awards and how people get them, and it's like you post out there like, hey, I'm looking for people. If you are interested, join. Send me a message, and you can be a part of the conversation. And actually, with us doing the show, I think if you want, we can maybe do the awards show over the hangout and get however many people that want to partake, or the committee that we're going to do, instead of doing the party chat. We can just do the hangout here, and we can broadcast and go over, and they can sit here for 3 hours and listen to us debate over who's going to get what award. Because I was mind blown every time I do it. I'm like, oh babe, I told my wife it's gonna be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we should be in and out. 2 hours later, we're still over here talking about who's the best two-way forward. I mean,
yeah.
Get over this stuff.
And another thing on the awards thing, it was also mentioned that the GM should be trying to discuss that instead of having GMs and players. They want to know what your thought on that was.
GMs only?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. I would like to get all participating, but from what I've seen, I only get maybe one or two. I don't want to exclude anybody, though. That's the thing. Everybody has a different viewpoint. Everyone can see things that we don't always consider, and they can make valid arguments. And I think limiting it to just people who only see their team, it could be a detriment more than a benefit.
Gamer God wants to know why the rookie showcase been around for a few seasons. Hasn't been around.
Has not been around. Well, it's been gone for 2 seasons, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, the last 2 seasons there hasn't been one.
The first season we didn't bother because at the time there was really no easy way to do it. We had to make clubs, and it was just too much of a hassle, so we didn't bother. This season we had the drop-in lobby password thing, and to be honest,
that just happened too.
Yeah. To be honest with that, someone offered to take care of that for me, and I put it on my back burner because I had other things to focus on, and either they forgot or I forgot to mention it to them, so we kind of let that one slip. But we do intend to bring that back again. It's just bad timing for the last 2.
Bipolar just sent a message and asked why we don't do a forward, D-man, or goalie of the week.
Oh, like the top star?
We certainly can. I would love some people to sign up for that. I mean, we got Cuban writing a lot of articles for me. I wrote them all last season. Believe it or not, they are very time consuming and exhausting to do. If you have an idea like that and you're willing to write it up, we'd be more than happy to sign you on to do those.
I was also asked by Cosmo if there why isn't there when will more weeks be added to the season?
When we get more teams.
Yeah, well, no. The reason we do 5 weeks, and I don't know if it's just the magic of timing or it's just been a coincidence, but you notice that the bad teams don't actually start to collapse until the fifth week.
Right.
That's when they stop showing up. If you go any farther, I find those bad teams give up way too early, and then you got a lot longer of an ordeal than you need. I think
Right.
5 weeks is just enough time for the gap to build between playoffs and eliminated teams.
Because that's starting to happen in the early grade now too. So I understand.
So that's why we do 5 weeks. Plus, you want to change up the rosters as often as possible. We like playing with each other, but sometimes the thrill of getting a new team is pretty good. So you want to keep that going.
Yeah, that's why a lot of like when I'm in rooms playing with guys, or even when I was talking with Cuban about that, about mentioning, changing it up, and actually each team can only sign that one player, and then that draft becomes so much bigger, and then more talent can be spread out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he thought it was a good idea. I don't know, Cuban, you said that sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fantasy football player. So when you had posted in the chat that we were all talking about keeping teams together for a certain amount of time, like that immediately piqued my interest because that's fantasy football. It's like you get a guy for 2 years and then you let him go, or you trade him to someone else and they get to keep him for 2 years, and vice versa. It gets into like the little craziness of whatever. But then, immediately everyone starts shooting it down because obviously those are more hockey players than fantasy football players, and blah on all of you. But I kind of like the idea, and that turned into the idea I had with the 8-man rosters and blah blah blah. But I mean, it just in general, just being able to anything. I like any idea that has to do with just one, either maintaining talent for a certain amount of period and or spreading the talent around, like just breaking some stuff up just to change it up and see what happens, and putting people in different situations that you never thought you could see them in. It's always a good idea to reinvent the league every now and again.
Yeah. Even I had that brain dead idea, and I'm glad I brought it up with the GMs first because that kind of put me back in my place. But I mentioned, I came up with that
they shot it down quick. Yeah, they put holes through that thing.
What was the word? The dynasties where you get 3 seasons with or 4 seasons or something with your entire roster. You can do anything you want, and then after that, it's complete wipe, and you start over. But that was the same concept idea, starting fresh, but no, it was a bad idea.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it kind of is if you go to that route of only being able to sign one guy. So like it's like you and Serge. You and Serge is like you guys captain owner or owner captain, vice versa. But that way you guys have a whole team to build together. You know what I mean? Instead of being able to re-sign.
I like it. Especially if anyone knows, you certainly get a plethora of D that are already signed that you're not going to be able to build much defensive competition with if one team holds them for their entire careers. So it's definitely a good idea to move some bodies around.
Yeah, because that way it still gives the GM to keep that one guy that they enjoy, but then the rest of them all go into the draft, and then you guys as a team pick and choose what you guys think will be better.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it's one of those things that just to see. I mean, I don't like. You guys, the GMs, they do a job for me, and I don't like forcing them to be miserable. So it's something that you have to discuss with them too. But for sure, I can get behind it.
Maybe put a vote on it or something like that and see how it goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Moles is asking our opinion on MVP and Vesna as of right now, currently through the season. What our opinions are on that.
For MVP and Vesna?
Yes. I will bring up The league leaders. Plus, he could bring up the goalie stats. Currently, if all the GMs have entered in all their stats, which some of them haven't,
That's
and
easier.
some of them
Right off
have.
the hop, I can say visual skills is in a pretty dominating position for Vesna.
Yeah, he's playing well.
21 games, 13-8, 86, almost 87% save percentage. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm on the forwards. Let me switch over to goalies.
Yeah, I don't really see anybody touching him right now. The closest is Jaddy, but he's
he had a rough one.
behind him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jaddy's got a little while to get up there. But yeah, visual 86%. That's pretty good, man. Only 41 goals against through 21 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Vez. As for forwards, MVP, I mean, Street Smurf is leading the league in points. Is he leading in goals as well? Yeah, he's in goals. Turtle is second. Navy Chief third.
Yeah, Smurf is a big part of our team for sure. Yeah, I would definitely be comfortable giving him an MVP vote.
Yeah, 3.7 points per game too, so almost 4 points per game for him. Looking at just Turtle stats, that would be a nice little conversation between those two, Turtle and Street Smurf.
Yeah.
Now 17 games, 63 points, 45 goals. I mean, and obviously look at no offense, where Nashville is right now in the standings because of it.
Him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So. Let's. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else there, Reed? Coming off the chat, we can also just throw it out there.
No, coming off the chat, no. No other questions coming in. Oh wait, we do have a question coming in. Cosmo, he brought up the re-signs, 1 forward, 1D, 1 goalie.
Yep, I was just gonna say that. I just seen that.
The re-signs 1 forward, 1D, 1 goalie.
Yeah, instead of just keeping one player, or you keep 1 forward, 1D, and 1 goalie as your re-signs. But my thing is if you're a D guy and then you re-sign another D guy, or if you re-sign and you're a D guy, that means you can only re-sign a forward and a goalie.
Exactly. I don't like that idea, mostly because that can and probably most likely will exceed the re-sign cap as 50% of the salary.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, it can be exploited. If I wanted to keep me, Serge, and say Smurf together, I play goalie. Serge is all of a sudden a D-man for that season.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I was just gonna say I would switch to goalie. I would make myself a goalie or something, or make myself a forward.
Doesn't mean you have to even play. Like you just switch it and be like, all right, I'll just sign another goalie. Now we got 2 goalies. I'll play forward whenever we quote unquote need it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, it's a bad setup for
that. Nice try, Cosmo. I like the question.
Yeah, it was good.
But the commission's in here. He's seen it all, so he poked holes through that in 2 seconds. Let me go ahead and let's go over just a quick overview of the standings here. I'm gonna screen share and click on myself. You're gonna see probably the massive. You guys see that? You good?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, we'll go standings, and we'll start off in the East, since I got you 2 Eastern Conference fellas here. Currently, as of right now, looks like everyone did their stats. 27 games, 27. Pittsburgh has 28 games played.
Boy, Pittsburgh. Getting ahead of the schedule. Nice.
Boy.
That means that they probably have a win and an overtime loss in one of their games. Or a loss and an overtime loss. They probably clicked it twice.
But yeah, you're gonna have to check your stats there, Steelers. Stat police is on you. Speaking of stat police, by the way, before we get into the standings, Plisk, with your 43 takeaways, you need to fix that, man. That's not right. You're messing up all the proper D-men stats for the rest of
Says
us.
who?
Get out of here. If I had the time to find the game, I'd do it myself, but I don't want
Yeah.
to.
I think it's one of the early ones. Yeah, I'll take that one. Looks like it was with Vancouver. Vancouver's got 28 games as well, so they must have doubled up on that game.
Yep. So Vancouver Pitt game needs to get adjusted. Right now, Boston still holding on to the top spot, commanding 44 points to first place. 33 is the next highest with Toronto. Boston's on a 4-game win streak. Toronto 6-2-2 in the last 10 with an overtime loser. Carolina jumping up 4-5-1 in the last 10, just won their last one. 30 points, 3 points out of second place. Had you guys ranked higher in the preseason. I'm glad you guys are starting to turn it around a bit here, Plisk, moving into the, like I said, the important week 3, moving week. And now you do your setup in week 4 for the push.
Yep.
Rangers slipping a little bit, 5-5. T's made some moves, and he's got to get his team chemistry resituated. Lost his last 4 games. Montreal coming in there in 5th place, 7 points out of the playoff spot, but it's still possible with 2 weeks left. Yeah, 2 weeks left to play. Just 4-6 the last 10. Lonely Pitt. Looks like it's going to be another tough season for a buddy over there after winning the cup, man. It's always tough. I know how it is. I had the same thing happen to me after I won the cup. I think, Reaper, you made the playoffs after you won, though, right?
Yeah.
You went back in.
Went to Game 7 and lost to Toronto in OT.
2-7-1 for those Pittsburgh guys. Lost 1. And Philadelphia, doubled up in wins this week. Went from 2-4 and 3-7 in their last 10. And hopefully 5.0 made some moves himself there, and hopefully he's got himself a nice little solid team. Had a tough game against the guys tonight. I did. Take a look at our Western standings.
Sporty Spies.
Yes, we have a new leader in the
Sporty
West.
Spice is on cloud 9 right now.
11 in a row, 42 points. Leading the Western Conference, Calgary, 41 points, 7-2-1 in their last 10. Colorado had their little streak snapped, but started right back up with a 4-game win streak, 7-3. 39 points, just 3 points out of first, 2 points out of second. Edmonton tied with Colorado there on the 4th spot, 7-2-1 also. Lost their last game of the night. And then we got Dallas, 22 points. Not completely out of it, but he's going to need these top teams to really start breaking down. And the way these 4 teams up top here have been playing, I don't really see that happening. But they can definitely be spoilers for other teams. Bench beat the hell out of my boys, getting their 5-5 on with a win to finish off the week. Congratulations to Avenge and Dallas. Great game by those guys. Appler with, I'm pretty sure, had 3 or 4 goals on us, man. Great game by you two, Appler. Chicago, I'm not used to this, man. Sitting there in 6th in the West, 19 points, 1-8-1. I know Cosmos is the best he can, first-year SPGM, but a veteran GM nonetheless, I know from other leagues. Jay Scott, I think, just started coming back, and I think he just needs to move around a few pieces and maybe get the chemistry going. And then Raj taking over Vancouver, 1-6-3. We'll see what they look like at the end of next week when we go over standings again. I think that team again, Raj taking over, just trying to find the right lineup for him and his play style and get these guys going. I know he's made some moves. I think we'll go over transactions more deeply next week when Plisk has the chance to update him a little bit on the website. I really don't want to jump on the other site because some of that stuff's still going through. So the overall standings here on the front page. And Boston #1.
Number one.
They're in the overall standings with Nashville right behind, then Calgary, Colorado, Edmonton, Toronto, Carolina, New York Rangers, Dallas, Montreal, Chicago, and then our faithful three, Pitt, Vancouver, and Philly. Just got a question here for you, Plisk. Trout wants to know if all of the All-Star game will be East versus West instead of just top guys overall. I thought it was already East versus West. I know we've done East versus West top player point-wise, right? That's how it's usually determined, is the top points for the East and the top points from the West. And then we've been doing the draft style with the two guys being captains and then picking from the pool of the selected All-Stars, right? Am I?
More or less. We had a setup where it went East and West, the top of each conference would play in a best of 3, and the winner would get home ice advantage for the finals and for the cup. People felt that they didn't like that, so they scrapped the idea. And because there was nothing to play for, so there was even less need for East versus West. We basically adopted the NHL's All-Star format, where you just take the top and just draft a team out of the top members.
Right.
It could go back. It doesn't really matter to me. We just changed it up out of requests from some people. So there's no harm in switching it back, but I think maybe in a season or two we'll do that, just to give this one a stretch.
All right. I mean, I like the idea of doing the draft thing. I think it was always a good idea. At the time, it's only been 2 seasons. I know the home ice thing determined by the All-Star game. I was
We got
on the forefront of getting that changed up. Yeah, but as for the team, I mean, I always think that the way you did it was based off the stats of currently how the guys are going, and then that's always been I feel is fair. I mean, those guys have earned the right by the stats and the way their teams have played to be on there like that. The only thing is maybe have maybe on the cusp guys that aren't really like a GM nominate. Each GM nominate a guy, and then we put up a poll for the week and see which one of those guys may get voted into the game as a fan vote.
The Madden pick.
Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's always that one random. We get that one random.
I can see that. The issue again is whose spot is that going to take away? If you're if you've been playing your ass off,
right,
you lose your position based purely on the mercy
we usually
vote.
play 3 games. Like that person will play 3 games, and then that third game that voted in player would get. No, it is not my birthday. Everyone's blowing up my chat. I'm sorry to stop this. It is not my birthday. My birthday is January 2nd, not December 31st. So thank you everyone for the birthday wishes.
Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday. Yes, old man, not quite yet. January 2nd. That will be my official born day. But I thank you everyone that have been messaging me. But back to the topic of the All-Star game. But yeah, I know we play 3 games in the All-Star game. At least try to play 3 games, and maybe just have that player that gets voted in as the representative for the third game by whichever team takes them.
So I'm trying to figure out how that would work, because again, the tie-breaking game, one team's going to get the shaft basically. You almost have to go first pick. First pick maybe has to get stuck with the last guy or something. But then again, how's that guy going to feel? Like, I don't know. It feels weird putting someone in that position.
True. something to talk about.
So no matter what, someone's gonna feel like shit, and someone's
Someone
gonna
gets a car, so either way,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, somebody's getting the car. Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go take a look at this week's power rankings. Nashville up 6, sitting on that top spot. You guys see that? Blow it up more, or is everyone?
Power rankings. Oh yeah.
Scroll over. So we got week 2 over here on the left, week 3, and Nashville moving up 6 spots to number 1 in the power rankings. 11-game win streak. I just can't find a way to beat them. I've lost to them twice. They're just playing out of this world, in my opinion. Sports Geek, literally, the game that I played against them this week kept them in the game. I don't know how many more shots we could have fired at this guy from every single spot on the ice. He was all over the place. Just unbelievable game right now from Nashville.
We played them this week as well, and we had them in pretty good shape. They were able to make a huge comeback. I think we were up like 5-1 or something, and they made a huge comeback. We just could not get a single goal past him after that. He locked it down for them. They were able to take the lead and win that one. But we had our chances to finish it, but we just could not beat him after he got the momentum going.
Yeah, man, that's that momentum. Like once you feel it, you know what I mean. You have those open net opportunities, and you miss out on it. Even when you're winning a game like that, 5-1, you just feel that ice tilt a little bit. It's like, ooh, we could have put it away with that one right there. Hopefully, we can keep him out the net, and then something fluky happens, puck bounces off a stick, and now you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't even like EA saves. Like he was sliding left and right, just robbing us after that. And we were getting like we kind of knew we were basically done for when we started seeing that. We were scoring everything, like everything was going in. We had like no problem. We were giggling, laughing, having a good time. And then they started scoring. He just started robbing us. We're like, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Speaking of scoring, Bossman, how did it feel to get 4 goals tonight?
Oh, yes, I did, didn't I?
That's from Lamal's.
Going to the top of the world right now.
Another question while we're jumping off topic of the power rankings, when exactly is the All-Star game usually? Isn't it week 5?
It's the Sunday week 5. I guess the end of week 4.
So the end of week 4 before week 5.
Yes, week 4, Wednesday, we usually post the nominees or the people selected, and then by Saturday the team's usually drafted, and then they start on Sunday.
So there you have it. All-Star game, it will be next Sunday. Time flies. Time flies. Power rankings, Boston staying put as the number 2 team. Calgary had a chance tonight to jump them, but floundered a 2-1 lead with 23 seconds left, and then lost in overtime immediately thereafter. That drops them down from the top spot down to number 3, losing to Nashville this week, then finishing the week off losing to Boston, brings them down to the 3rd spot. Edmonton standing put, putting together himself a solid little week, sitting in the 4th spot. Colorado dropping down 2 spots. Then we got Carolina staying put. Obviously, I feel that they can be risers. Made some moves, and they just gotta just continue pace, get on top of Toronto, and then figure out Boston, and that could be a determining factor of how they play Boston this week, in my opinion. Carolina can move up.
Well, we don't want to move up too high.
Then we have Toronto moving up a spot. And then, of course, T made some moves and finished the week out with that little losing streak, dropped them down 3 spots. Avenge finishing off very well, moving up 3 spots. And then we have Montreal dropping down a spot. Then we have Chicago. And then our faithful 3, Pittsburgh, Vancouver, and Philly. Hard for me to want to move any of those guys around currently the way they're playing. But I know those GMs are doing the best they can. Again, Raj taking over Vancouver, and 5 Point doing the best he can with the bye, 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 man. He's got that song still playing in the background over there in Philly, rotating players in and out over there. So that is our week 3 power rankings. Anything you guys want to add on to that?
No, man. You said it all.
Nope, I've got nothing left.
All right, guys. Let me turn the screen share off here. All right. So week 3 in the books, gentlemen. Excellent week. Plisk, thank you for coming on the show. A pleasure, man. Reap, you got anything, buddy?
That's it, man. Happy New Year to everybody, and thanks for coming on the show. And look out, we're coming for your spot there, Plisk. So we got to get this going.
Again, thank you for everyone that watches the show, listens to the show live, messages us. Appreciate it. I know Reaper appreciates it. I know Plisk appreciates it. It's been done before.
One thing I do have to mention is that last week it kind of got out of hand, and I shouldn't have said what I said, and I do apologize for that. It was just the heat of the moment, and I overreacted, and I just want to apologize to whoever. Well, apologize to person, Chico, and stuff like that. Trying to close that chapter and just move on, man. So again, I apologize for the way things were handled last week. It shouldn't have gotten that bad. So
yeah, Reap, I'm right there with you, man. I apologize to Burst and Chico for putting you guys in that situation. Myself, me and Reap, we were like just heated and it got a little out of hand. But I apologize to you guys. I know I apologize to you after the show as well, and I just want to say now on air as well, I apologize for letting it get out of hand and getting as crazy as it did. I consider the show, a privilege to be able to run it, privilege to have me and Reap be nominated by our fellow GMs to take this banner and fly it high and do the best we can with it, and to have it slip a little bit last week. Shame on me, and I'm sorry for letting it get out of hand, man. And hopefully, I know I learned from it, Reap learned from it, and we're just going to hopefully make the show better from here on out.
We're still learning, people. We're still learning.
So with that being said, as always, be kind to each other. Remember, virtual hockey player lives matter.
Peace.